Hello everyone. Now we'll discuss about deflection of beams by conjugate beam method. What are the objectives of studying this method? Just to understand the difference between the real beam and conjugate beam. And the second objective is to determine the slope and deflection for the determinate prismatic beams and also for non-prismatic beams. So what is then conjugate beam? Conjugate beam is an imaginary beam of length equal to that of the original beam, but for which the load diagram is the M by EI diagram of the given beam. That means the load at any point on the conjugate beam is equals to the bending moment at that point divided by EI. Now let us see here, this is the simply supported beam with carrying point load at center. If you draw the M by EI diagram, it will be a triangle with center, the bending moment is WL by 4. So if M by EI ordinate is WL by 4ER. Then if you take this conjugate beam, it is the imaginary beam of length, same length as that of the original beam. That is, if you look at this length of this AB and this length remains same, but this M by EI diagram will become the loading diagram for the conjugate beam. Whenever you say loading diagram, you should show the arrows like this. Then this is M by EI diagram. When you want to convert into loading diagram, just you have to draw the arrows. Then how to calculate the slope and deflection at any section for a beam by conjugate beam method? See here, the slope is calculated like this. The slope at any section of the given beam is equal to the shear force at the corresponding section of the conjugate beam. For example, if you want to calculate the slope at A for the given beam, so that is equals to the shear force at the A for the conjugate beam. Then deflection can be calculated. The deflection at any section of the given beam is equal to the bending moment at the corresponding section of the conjugate beam. That means if you want to calculate deflection at A for the given beam, that is equals to bending moment at A for the conjugate beam. Next, if you see the real difference between the real beam and the conjugate beam, so here M by EI diagram we call it as a curvature diagram, whereas in the conjugate beam it is M by EI diagram is the loading on the beam. Then for real beam, slope at any section, for the conjugate beam it is shear force at that section. If deflection at any section for the real beam is nothing but bending moment at the corresponding section for the conjugate beam. If you consider simple support in real beam, you know that at the point of support deflection is 0 but slope will be not 0. And in case of conjugate beam simple support, you know that deflection is 0. Deflection is given by bending moment. Therefore bending moment is 0 here and slope is not 0. Therefore slope is all given by shear force and shear force is not 0. Similarly fixed end, you know that in given beam or real beam, at the fixed end both slope and deflection will be 0. And when it is in conjugate beam, that fixed end will become a free end. And at the free end, we know that bending moment is also 0, shear force is also 0. Then in real beam free end, you know that slope and deflection exist. That means both are not 0. So in conjugate beam, what happens? Free end will become fixed end. And you know that bending moment and shear force are not 0 at the fixed end. And if the bending moment diagram is sagging, that means the loading on conjugate beam diagram is downward. Bending moment is hogging, that is negative. That is usually in case of cantilever beams, bending moment diagram will be hogging. And here the M by EI, that is load on the conjugate beam, is upward. Now if you look at the difference between the original beam and the conjugate beam, see here it is a simply supported beam having span L. In the conjugate beam also the span remains same and that length remains same, that is A and B itself, and the end conditions remain simply supported itself. And in case of original beam, if you take A and B, A is a hinge support and B is a roller support, L is a span, then for conjugate beam the end conditions remain same and length also remains same. There will be no change in the end conditions. But when you take the cantilever, here it is a span L. If you take the conjugate beam, the fixed end will become free end, whereas free end will become fixed end, but the length remains same. And similarly, if you take another example, it is a overhanging beam. It is an internal support. That is, internal support is here C, and B is the free end, A is a hinge support. If you go for the conjugate beam, that hinge remains hinge. The internal support becomes internal hinge here. C is the internal support here, whereas here in the conjugate beam will become internal hinge, and in a real beam B is a free end, whereas in the conjugate beam becomes a fixed end. See, these are some the difference in end conditions and the internal support and the internal hinge with respect to original and conjugate beam. Now let us consider one problem for a simply supported beam carrying point load at the center. So we have to calculate slope at the end A and deflection at the center. This is the simply supported beam. W is the load at the center. If you draw the M by E diagram, it is a triangle with ordinates at the center, or under the load it is a WL by 4EI. If you convert the given beam into conjugate beam, end conditions remain same, but this M by E diagram will become loading diagram, means you have to show the arrows here. Then how to calculate? You know that slope at any point on the given beam is equals to shear force at the same point for the conjugate beam. Means if you want to calculate slope at A, it will be shear force at A for this conjugate beam. This is the conjugate beam and this is the real beam. Now if you consider here this conjugate beam, the loading is symmetric. Loading is now a triangular loading, but the triangle is symmetric. Then usually for symmetric loading, how do you calculate the reactions? RA is equals to RB, that is equals to total load by 2. What is the total load here? It is half, base is L, height is 4L by EI. If you look at that, half base into height divided by 2. So if you simplify this, you are going to get here WL square by 16 EI. That means here RA for the conjugate beam is WL square by 16 EI. Then here he has asked to calculate the slope at A for the given beam. What exactly slope at A for the given beam is nothing but shear force at A for the conjugate beam. What is shear force at A now? It is nothing but the reaction at A. That means theta A is slope at A. The shear force is at A is nothing but the reaction at that point for the conjugate beam, that is RA. So you know that RA has been already calculated for the conjugate beam, that is nothing but shear force, which is equals to WL square by 16 EI. Now we need to calculate the deflection at the center, say here. Now I have drawn this AC part, which is having the reaction A and L by 2. Now if you want to calculate the deflection at C, so deflection at C for the given beam is equals to what it is? Bending moment at C for this conjugate beam. This is the conjugate beam. So now how do you calculate bending moment at C now? It is say that is YC, and bending moment, this is bending moment expression for conjugate beam. So RA into L by 2, look at this, RA into L by 2, this is clockwise. Then this triangular load causes anti-clockwise. So what is the load here in between AC? This is a triangular load, 1 by 2, that is half, base is L by 2, height is WL by 4EI. This is the triangular load. So you know that the CC of this triangle lies at a distance of 1/3 of L by 2 from C. We are writing the bending moment at C. Now we have to multiply by this distance, that is 1/3 of L by 2. So if you substitute the value of RA here, which you have got it as WL square by 16 EI, and if we simplify this, we are going to get here WL cube by 48 EI, which is nothing but the deflection at C. Deflection at C for the given beam is WL by 48 EI. How you calculate it? It is nothing but the bending moment at C for the conjugate beam. Now if you take another problem here, for the beam loaded as shown, determine the slope at left support and deflection under the point load using conjugate beam. Here he has given E is equals to 2 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per mm square, and I is equals to 10 to the power 8 mm raised to 4. So this 60 kN is acting at 4 meter from A and 3 meter from A. If you draw the bending moment diagram, you know that it is WAB by L. That is WAB by L is means 60 into 4 into 3 divided by 7. If you do that, you are going to get 102.86. As it is M by E diagram, you have to divide by EI. Now this M by E will become loading diagram for the conjugate beam. For what is the conjugate beam? It is an imaginary beam of same length as that of the original beam. This is AB of span 7 meter. So this also beam AB of span 7 meter. Hinge remains same hinge only, and roller remains roller, but only M by E diagram will become loading diagram. So you have to show these arrows like this, and it is an unsymmetric triangle. So the CC of the unsymmetric triangle, say it is Z here. From B it will be L plus B by 3, distance of CC of the unsymmetric triangle will be from the end B, it is L plus B by 3. What is L here? 7, B is 3 meter. Suppose if you want from A, it will be L plus A by 3. That is L will be 7, A will be 4. Now, so look at this now. First let us calculate this reactions. If you take the sigma MB equals to 0, what is that? You know that here it is RA causes clockwise. RA into total distance between A and B is 7. So it is RA into 7. Now what is the load between, it is a triangular load but it is unsymmetric triangle. What is the load between A and B? It is area of this triangle. What is the area of this triangle? This is 1 by 2, base is 7, height is 102.86 divided by ER. See, RA causes, you know that it is clockwise. But whereas this is causing anti-clockwise. So it is 1 by 2 base into height into distance between the CG of that triangle and B. What is that? L plus B by 3. What is L here? 7 plus 3 by 3. Now you simplify this, you will get here RA is equals to 171.43 divided by EI. Now how to get RB now here? It is sigma Fy. What is sigma Fy now? RA, it is upward, plus RB, it is also upward, minus this much load. What is this? Triangular load. How to calculate triangular load? The area of that triangle, that is minus 1 by 2 base into height equals to 0. And you know the value of RA here. So RB equals to, if you simplify, it will be getting 188.58 divided by EI. So once if you get this RA and RB, now what is asked here? Slope at A is asked. Slope at A for the given beam is equals to what here? Shear force at A for the conjugate beam. That is nothing but slope at A is theta A. Shear force at A is nothing but reaction at A, that is RA. The reaction at A, RA is calculated already, which is equals to 171.43 divided by EI. Next, he has given the values of E and I. See here, E is 2 into 10 to the power 5 Newton per mm square and I is 10 to the power 8 mm raised to 4. If you multiply these two, you will get 2 into 10 to the power 13 Newton per mm square. But this you need to convert into kilonewton meter square, because while calculating the bending moment, we have taken load in kilonewton, distance in meter. So how to calculate that? Newton to kilonewton, you have to divide by 1000. Mm square to meter square means this mm divided by 1000, it is square, so it is 1000 square, so that mm square will become meter square, and by this 1000 kilonewton will become kilonewton. If you simplify this, you are going to get this as 2 into 10 to the power 4 kilonewton meter square. So therefore now theta A is 171.43 divided by EI. EI is 2 into 10 to the power 4. So if you simplify that, you are going to get here 0.00857 radians. Next, what is asked here? Deflection at C. How to calculate deflection at C? Deflection at C for the given beam is equals to bending moment at C for the conjugate beam. So now how to calculate that? Now you have to consider the load between A and C. So if you, that is deflection at C is nothing but YC. Now if you calculate the moment due to RA about C, what is this? It is clockwise, so plus RA into this is 4, this one, and this is anti-clockwise, minus the triangular load between A and C. What is that? Half, base is 4, height is 102.86 divided by EI, into distance. What is the distance? Distance between the CG of the triangle to C, because we are writing the bending moment at C. What is that? It is a right angle triangle. It is just 1/3 of base, that is 1/3 of 4. You know the value of RA, that is 171.43, that is divided by EI. And if you simplify this, you are going to get here 411.43 divided by EI. And if you simplify by putting the value of EI, you that into 1000 by auto means actually this gives you in meter. If you multiply by 1000, it gives you in 20.57 mm.